Okay, here we go. Friends, episode number 2, finally.
Yeah.
All right, so today we're talking about how we work with AI. So
Yeah.
I know my development process and design process has been totally transformed. And I know yours has as well. So let's get into it. So
Yeah. So hello everyone. So welcome back to the channel, first of all. And in today video is a big one actually. So actually we are talking about how to design, collaborate, and launch product with the help of AI. Not it's AI not just a buzzword, but AI as a genuine co-pilot in your daily work. So that's we are hacking in this video today. And if you are a designer, a product manager, or an engineer, this session is going to change how you think about your role actually. So we will cover working with cross-functional teams, working with other designers, and taking a product all the way from idea to launch. So let's dive into it.
okay.
So this is the roadmap actually. So first we both will give a very basic introduction of our career and all, and what type of products we have been developed, and how AI is changing our work culture and workflows. And we will also talk about how to collaborate with product design and engineering team with the help of like different kind of document like goals, requirement, hands-off, communicating trade-offs, and AI prototyping. And the most important, like working with designers, like feedback, design system critique, especially for the remote teams. And we will also talk
All
about like
right.
the
It's
shift.
not the most important piece, Prince. Come on. All the pieces are important.
No, no, I know. But because I'm a designer, that's why I'm saying.
All right. Well, so we hear your bias. They're all
Yeah,
important.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, everything is important. Yeah, true. So after that, we will also talk about like how to launch a product, right? So we will talk about different type of frameworks like Moscow framework, right? So idea to launch like MLP thinking, then release and measuring success, right? So we will discuss more about MLP in the next slides, and then we will talk about okay what type of facts is has been produced, like has been in the market buzz and all. So yeah, let's start with the introduction first.
Okay. All right. Here's what we're working on. Why are we collaborating with AI and how do we actually get great products built? So, Prince.
Yeah. So my name is Principal. So I have 18 years of experience in building products people actually use. So I mostly work in 5 industries like healthcare, SaaS, fintech, and logistics, and nowadays in AI, obviously. My design product has been impacted by the like 60 million plus users. So my thinking is that okay, great products are never built by designers alone, right? They are built through the collaboration in between design, product, and engineering team. So that's about me. Crystal, you?
All right. So I have spent over the past 25 years building technology products and systems across a lot of different industries. So most recently, we launched Cinemachina, which is our AI film studio. We are working on One Machina, which is launching in Q4 of 2026. So super excited about that project. And what we're doing is we're designing human and AI collaboration systems. So I've been talking to the AIs for the past 3.5 years. And what I've learned is, you can't just one shot your way to a super great app. And I've done some experiments trying, and we'll just say they're kind of lame.
Yeah.
So, but I've worked across a lot of different industries. I've worked in healthcare, AI, medtech, SaaS, fintech, supply chain, retail, construction, startups, AI, edtech, and IoT. I am also 0.00001% top ChatGPT users. So I'm not using ChatGPT in the way that most people are. And we're going to have some fun on a future podcast, which is going to be whose AI is smarter. And I'll bet I win.
Yeah, true. So here, actually, I would like to plant a flag early, like vibe coding is dead and quantum thinking is the future. And we will decode this particular trade, right? Okay, why quantum thinking is the future.
Okay, so this is a slide that ChatGPT and I created, kind of talking about the difference between quantum coding and vibe coding. So the guy who invented the vibe coding phrase, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but he actually now hates this phrase, right? So kind of the process the vibe coders follow is, hey, ChatGPT, go do this, or hey, Claude, go build this. And so it doesn't follow any of the best practices in software development, right? So I've worked for Fortune 500 companies with excellent processes, and we have entire manuals on our processes to go ship software. So to go from idea to working in production, we follow a lot of different frameworks, and those frameworks are ITIL, SOC Type 2, PCI, all sorts of things, right? So if you don't understand what these things are, you're not going to be, you can build software, it does work, but it doesn't follow any of the things that you need to actually support your users or secure your data, right? So the biggest risk right now that we have of these vibe coded apps is that is really around the security vulnerabilities that people are introducing, right? So, I've worked for companies where they've been hacked, and I've been in the back room where they're talking about how do we tell our customers? And I will tell you, companies I've worked for have not disclosed to their customers they were hacked because it didn't follow certain rules to disclose. So if a company doesn't have to legally tell you, they won't. So anyways, now compare this to quantum coding, right? So my favorite example is Boris Cherny. So Boris Cherny is the developer who has basically designed Claude Code. So this guy is probably one of the greatest coders on the planet right now with what he's done. So he went from idea to working software with Claude Cowork in 2.5 weeks. And he doesn't do it just with, hey, Claude, go build me a Claude Cowork that works on your PC and controls the browser, right? He built it. He has 14 agents running concurrently. He's looking at architecture, security testing, logging, all of the things that you need to do for production systems. So when I look at kind of the industry, what Claude Cowork basically built in 2.5 weeks is an RPA system. So it's short for robotic process automation. And robotic process automation systems have been out for 25 years, right? And in 25 years, none of the robotic process automation guys could build what Claude Cowork did in 2.5 weeks. So
right.
So there's a huge difference between, all right, we're going to go design an app and go push it to production and hope that it works and hope it's secure and hope all the things are working versus, okay, we actually care about the fundamentals of good software architecture, of maintaining systems, supporting our customers, and creating real software startups, not fake it till you make it, hustle bro startups.
Right. So when we talk about, okay, what type of two forces are actually reshaping the whole product design and development process, and that is actually is first is the collaboration. So it's matter more than ever nowadays because AI also involved in this process. Like products before, like and nowadays more complex than ever before. Engineering align early is very, very important. If we miss this particular thing, our product could be more complexer. and the best team decide together, not just the one person. So that's very important. And second thing is like second force is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is actually changing the whole game of the product development. So so research and docs in minutes, not in hours, right? It can you just give a prompt, okay, what type of, or you give your product requirement, okay, what you are looking for. It will create in minutes, not in hours nowadays. A daily collaborator for thinking through the problems is with you in the shape of AI. It's not a replacement, and it's actually a companion for your whole workflow. So this is what we will prove in this whole session. Yeah. Next slide, please. So working with product and engineering, like, okay, it's similar like aligning the user needs, business goals, and technical reality from day one, right? So I will, and we both together, we will explain in detail in next slide, like how we can achieve this particular target. So strategic product design is, okay, every decision answer four questions. So these are the four questions is very, very important. Either we are building a micro SaaS or mid-level product or enterprise level product. So first question is, okay, does it solve a user problem? Second question, does it support business goals? So when I design a product uh, for SaaS industry, I keep the balance in between user and stakeholders and business. Like 60% is user and 40% is business. Why? Because if on your product you have the users, you are the king, right? So we have to keep the balance in between those. So third one is it technically feasible, right? And fourth is, okay, what does AI need to know? So we will crack this particular thing in next slides. Like, okay, balancing all these four turns a good designer into a strategic one. But
Yeah.
humans provide what AI can't, right? So AI can't provide context, empathy, ethics, taste, and strategy,
Yeah.
right? So this is we
And
have to take care. Yeah.
yeah, and I want to add another kind of fifth bullet point for this, because what I see right now is there's a lot of startups that are launching that are just adding kind of one feature to a big SaaS play, right? Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
going to go make this thing that is the, Pinterest. I'm going to create the AI Pinterest, right?
Hmm.
So part of the question is, um, if you are 2 to 4 weeks away from from them creating their own AI integration, or then, is it worth your time, right? Especially if you're investing your hard-earned money on a startup,
Hmm.
right? Because startups have a high
Hmm.
frailty rate, high failure rate. And so the question is, can Claude displace you? And so let me give you an example. So
Hmm.
um, so Claude Design recently rolled out PowerPoints, and this PowerPoint was generated with Claude Design, right? And so, 2 years ago, I had a subscription to Beautiful.ai, which would create AI-driven slides, right? So I would give it some bullet points on what I wanted to do, and then generate my slides. Well, at this point in time, I'm like, is Beautiful AI dead? Because I brainstormed with ChatGPT, grabbed the PowerPoint slide presentation, pasted it into Claude Design, and here it is, right? So if you are, very easy, so if you're creating single point of feature types of startups that Claude could displace, OpenAI could displace, the question is that a good use of your energy, right? So not
Hmm.
only that is, can you capture the market and can you maintain that market? So don't
Right.
build a startup that create your AI headshot. Well, I can go into ChatGPT and go create my AI headshot, right? So don't invest your
Right.
time in things that can be easily displaced by these companies in a 2-week development cycle.
Mhm. Right.
Mm.
And one more important thing is that in Claude design, you can not even create the prototype wireframes, but as well as you can create the slide as well. So in one umbrella, you can create three important things, right?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next thing is, okay, working together. So practices that reduce the friction. So we will talk about that. First is requirements. Write it down clearly. User stories, acceptance criteria, and edge cases cut the back and forth. And requirements, there are different type of document we can provide to the AI. First document is, okay, the PRD document, product requirement document. And as much as you can give the information and your thought process, your ideas into a document, AI can easily understand it. And if you can provide a document with some kind of logic things, like, okay, this is how you want exactly, AI can give you better results. So requirement is very important. Second thing is hands off. So hands off is like, especially for it's for the designers. Like, okay, designers, how designers do previously before AI, they do everything in Figma, design, wireframing, design, everything, and the high fidelity prototyping. So we call it hands off. So those prototype we give to developers. So that is actually a communicating intent between design and engineering team. So share the interaction and assumption, not just a set of Figma screens. So why this is important? Because now we have the Claude design, right? So in the Claude design, we can give the high fidelity prototyping, and that we can simply like export it and give it as a hands-off to the developers. Because those are interactive, developer can easily understand, and maximum developer get bored with the very big of PRD document by reading that particular PRD document, but they can easily understand your product flow, your user flow of the application through the visuals. So last thing is trade-off, like make them explicit, speed versus quality, business versus user, feasibility versus the ideal experience. Example, Cinemacana.
Yeah.
So you gave the
Yeah.
explanation of it.
So on Cinemacana, right, look, kind of our long-term vision is anyone can create a Steven Spielberg quality movie, right? The realities of the technology today is there will be someone who can do this, but I will tell you it's going to take a lot of creative editing in order to get there. So, the technology is currently what I like to call its braces and acne stage, and the AI engines work differently. So as an example, I was working on a music video from No King's video, and I had a hand holding a flame as the screenshot, right? And so when it zooms out, it turns out that it transformed my character into an Asian character because I didn't give the AI a character reference when I created the video. And so that said, I was using Kling AI, which is based in Asia. So of course they're going to use Asian people references in their filmmaking studio, right? So what I had to do is I still wanted to use the clip, but I had to use like 3 seconds of the clip instead of the full clip. So if you just say, if your user story is, as a user, I want to generate a Steven Spielberg quality movie, unless you have, $5 billion and a whole team that's X movie studio execs, X all of the people, you're not going to be able to do it, right? Like and it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's going to happen in 2 years, right? So that's really the feasibility versus the ideal experience. So you have to build to where the technology is today. You can't automagically, the AI can't automatically go accelerate the technology. The technology is going to happen, right? It's just, we're all experimenting, we're all learning, we're all creating best practices, and the frameworks are evolving, the platforms are evolving, and that's just the state of where we're in today.
So this case study is very important. Like when we talk about, okay, balance in between user and business, right? So you requested to add this particular case study slide because this is the best example.
Yeah,
So, so here you see if, in the when Twitter bought by the Elon Musk and it converted into X.
yeah,
So now the business goal has been changed totally. So it's a larger platform, like beyond tweets, right?
yeah,
New revenue via subscriptions has been introduced, reduce operational costs, move faster, few constraint, more creator monetization. So that was the business goal. But what impacted on the user is they fired 7,500 staff, and after 15 days, they realized, oops, we need few in between.
right. We're seeing
And
that with a lot of companies who are firing their teams because they're like, hey, your job's been automated, see you later. And it's like, oops, we overestimated the technology. Only a few of you can come back, and everyone else who remained, be grateful you have a job, right?
and it also lost the 15 years of brand identity of Twitter.
Yeah,
And verifications became a paid feature, which was very, very important for a Twitter user. Rapid changes confuse some users. Some communities explored more alternative, right? That, okay, what is the alternative of Twitter and become X? And what we can learn from this case study is, as a product lesson, like business vision gives direction, user trust create adoption, then speed drive innovation. Understanding user drive loyalty, and that is very important. And previously I said, whenever I design a product, I keep a balance in between users and business is 60% user and 40% business.
yeah.
So in the AI era, speed is getting easier, but judgment is a actual real advantage. And you drawn the below the shift. Now you explain it.
Okay. Well, I want to add a couple other points on the Twitter
Yeah, yeah.
tips, right? So Elon
Please.
Musk comes in and he says, okay, we're going to cut half the staff because y'all are lazy, right? Or whatever it is. Because he's kind of a jerk, is what I'll say, right? So he's brilliant, but he's a jerk. So then the other thing that happened with X was they were making some server updates because they're like, hey, system's bloated. Let's go get rid of a bunch of servers that we don't need. All right. So literally one day they just shut down a whole bunch of servers. Right. So and then there's no communication plan. No, hey, this is what's going on. Plan for outages on this day. Right. Like nothing that good companies do. It's just like
Hmm.
stuff broke, and then it's like, oh, sorry, we're shutting down servers, right? So this could all have been handled proactively. Hey, here's what we're doing. He's a run fast and break things guy, right? So
Hmm.
that's why he does it. Is okay, I'm going to run with scissors, and I'm not going to get stabbed, but other people might get stabbed as I'm running around. And um, so so anyways, people whose businesses depend on Twitter were kind of like screwed that day, right? And then he's like, oh,
Hmm.
sorry, we're shutting down servers because we've got too many. So he could have been proactive about it. He could have,
Hmm.
when we deploy software updates, start at night when there's less users. And today in a global economy, it's a little bit different because there is no fewer users in the middle of the night because people in India are using it during the day, right? So it's a little
Hmm.
bit different when you've got a global corporation, but you can strategically do things. Start your break things on Saturday night. Set up an outage page, letting people know, right? Like there's
Hmm.
good
Yeah.
practices, and all he had to do
Yeah.
was communicate in advance, and then
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
became this firestorm where it's like, oh, Twitter's breaking Elon is breaking all these things. And so,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So anyways, when you talk about the shift, right? So kind of the old days was, okay, I've got this design or this idea. Okay, we're going to go design it. We're going to go figure out the feasibility. We're going to go vet it with a bunch of people, right? Then you go review the design with your stakeholders. You review it with your development team, review it with your QA team. Is there any questions, concerns? Then you build it, then you test it, then you ship it, right? But today, what people are doing is their idea is vibe coding, right? They're like, okay, I have this idea, I'm going to vibe code it. Then they ship it. Then they figure out, oh, it doesn't work. We're going to break it. Then we're going to fix it. And then we're going to repeat that whole cycle. And so, you still can follow the same idea, design, review, build, ship processes in a shorter time frame, right? So what used to take months now can take days, but don't skip the process, right? So review it. You're going to get better feedback if you get user feedback. Collaborate with your developers before you build it, so that way they can give you, hey, what happens here? What happens there? Instead of like, oh, here, go build it, right? So they can start designing the architecture behind it. They can design reusable components, things like that.
Yeah. Here, I would like to add one more thing in the previous slide, that when blue tick has been paid by the Twitter or become X, so there is one company, their stock has been suddenly dropped. Why? Because their competitor company created a duplicate page and they bought the blue tick. And on that particular Twitter account, they posted a negative sentimental post. And you see, this is very
Right.
important, the credibility,
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
the trolls rule the world, right?
yeah. Okay. So how to use the AI so it's like a product and engineering co-pilot, right? So here there is one example I given. Okay, you can use ChatGPT or Claude. So what I use for generating the PRDs and user stories, I use personally the ChatGPT. Then I analyze those requirements and edge cases like pressure test decision via Claude, and then summarize meeting into action, like, okay, notes to next steps instantly. Then draft stakeholder updates, right? Okay, what I have to communicate to my client in terms of, okay, so that communication could be clear in few seconds, right? So this is how I'm doing. So I given one example in the chat, like, okay, draft a PRD user story in app notification with the case, and then assistant is doing for me for a proper documentation creation when I am working with AI as a co-pilot.
Yeah. And for
Yeah.
me, my process is a little bit different. So because I code design with AI, so I come up with an initial list of requirements and I use ChatGPT for my brainstorming. Then from there, I put that in, I give Claude Design a list of requirements from my perspective. Then I go in and I look at the design that was created. And, you can't give it this many changes where it's like, here's a 10-page, system, go build it,
Okay.
right? You got to give it a piece at a time, right? So it's like, okay, here's the first screen or the first couple screens. Then from there, I look at it, I go iterate with it. And then I go on, okay, let's go get the next couple screens. Let's go get the next couple screens. And so I'm clicking through, I'm testing it as I'm designing it. And that's actually how I derive features. Then once I'm done with that, then I have Claude Design go in and create a requirements list, a functional requirements list based off of our conversation, because there's gaps between the ChatGPT conversation and the conversation, the design process I'm going through with Claude. So, so it's a little bit different, but it's still the same concept, is brainstorming. I also will sometimes pull Claude into the brainstorming process as well. Claude kind of already is in the brainstorming process because Claude is generating the design. But so I don't always go into Claude Web to go do it, but sometimes it will, depending on how complex it is, or because Claude is doing the coding, I will go to Claude Web when I want to figure out technically if we can do something. before we go add a feature, all right, if that makes sense.
Right. So in previous world, when I was creating like high fidelity prototyping using Figma, so I experienced that sometime I could not explain the whole flow with the static Figma prototyping, right?
Mhm.
So that's why I write along with that prototype the user story with logics, right?
Yeah,
So I write down everything as a logic. If this happen, then this should happen, so that developer could have a better understanding, you know.
yeah.
Ah. This is very important, you know. So let's
This is
discuss the
super
graph
important.
first. Yeah. So before AI, people have ideas, right? So people have like four ideas. People have like more than million ideas, but they do not have courage to develop the product, you know, because there are so many constraints, so many so much money you need to develop a product. But in the AI world, you have ideas, multiple ideas. We see a lot of ideas introducing in the world because it's very accessible to develop a product with the help of AI. But there are some like builders, right? Then we have very less user nowadays. And you know why? Because there are so many competitive products easily available in the market, and user can shift from one product to another product, right? So in this AI era, UX research is more important, very, very important actually, because AI changing more than how we build, is changing where value is created, right? And there are ideas are abundant, right? But execution is faster than ever. So in the world where AI, everyone can build, right? The winner will be those who knows, okay, what is worth building, right? So that's why the UX research is very important. So I use actually ChatGPT data because they have a lot of big data. So I use ChatGPT for the UX research, but I personally recommend to like do some research with your real user, at least 5 to 10 as well, right? Okay, this is what you are building, and those user could be a real user, right? Why?
Mhm,
Because you can get more human insights out of it.
mhm.
Because ChatGPT or any other AI have the data, but it's not a latest data. So normally they have like, I think 2 years of buffer, right? They do not have like, they have data of like 1 year old, you know. So that's why I'm personally recommend that if we can do AI research as well as with the real users, that will be keep the balance in between, and we can make the right decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit to this point is I actually implemented this at one of the companies. We were building our first mobile app, so this is about 10 years ago. And I went I went internally to every single kind of key account executive to go get feedback before the demo. I went and actually we did I got key feedback from key very important business customers. So we had a
Hmm.
couple of business customers who were kind of, they helped drive the kind of product direction. So I got feedback from them, and then we presented it as a user council before we started building it. So that feedback was crucial to me to go build the right thing, because my first version to that version was significantly improved based off their feedback. So I've been doing this for a long time. I would be considered an expert in designing software. And if I can't read people's minds, I don't know how they're going to use the software. And so, like there's an art to how to talk to customers to go build software products. Any person's going to be able to vibe code in the future. And so the question is, if you have to compete in a marketplace of 1 million or 5 million or 10 million vibe coders, how does your app get seen? And why is it more special than the other, 1,000 apps that are doing kind of the same thing?
Right. So let's talk about like how to do the UX research in AI era. So this is a beautiful framework we can talk about on it. So where we are, I mentioned, okay, how to automate, augment, and human only. So what type of task AI could do right? And what type of tasks a human could do and approve it. So in the automate journey, like, okay, repetitive and time consuming tasks could AI easily do, right? Like transcribing interview recordings and organization and tagging new research data, then coding and cleaning qualitative data, summarizing surveys and session notes, first pass affinity maps and clusters. So drafting reports, summaries and slides. So these are the automate tasks AI can do easily. And augment think and AI as well with the help of like humans. Like, okay, what type of augment task is like, okay, suggesting interview question and scripts. So here human involvement is required. Surfacing pattern across sessions, analyzing usability metrics and errors, then proposing hypothesis to test, comparing finding against benchmarks, and recommending next research directions. And what human only can do in the UX research as a decisioning power, empathy, context, and ethics. So moderating interviews and usability test data, then building trust and reading emotions, prioritizing findings by real impact, ethical judgment and participant consent, making strategic recommendations, and deciding what is worth building. So if we will talk about, okay, where AI fit across the research life cycle, so discovery. So this is a beautiful framework in terms of UX research with the help of AI. Yeah. Do you have any comment on it?
I 100% agree.
Okay, cool. Ability area. Then standard smart controls like, okay, stop reinventing forms, voice to text, smart autofill, shared fields, autocomplete. Then consistent patterns like, okay, learn once and use everywhere. So like delete and undo, navigation, login and search. Then fourth is personal preferences like, okay, the web adapts to you like dark and light mode, right? And A11Y themes, then color preferences, visual identity, like, and your whole HTML should be like approved from WebRTC, like Web3 compliance as well. And human plus AI OS. So like interfaces become intelligent in terms of, okay, context aware, secure, personalized, and cross app. So these five parameter we have to take care when we are building the interfaces. So like future of UX is not just the more beautiful interfaces, but it fewer interfaces to learn, like how it's adaptive. So the future of the interface is like adaptive UI, like how a interface is learning from a user experience, or you can say from user behavior, right? So this is the slide for that particular thing. Yeah. So next
Yeah.
slide is,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So, can we go back one? Yeah. So, what I see kind of in the industry over the years is we've tried to standardize the UX, right? So
Hmm.
I'll say it really started with Twitter Bootstrap in, 2011, 2010-ish, right? Where it's like, oh, we've got a consistent way to go build UIs. And back then it was like, oh my God, I used to have to hand roll all of this code to go get a nice CSS file to go render it, right?
Yeah.
Well, now we've got all these frameworks. So we've got Material, we've got
Yeah.
Tailwind, we've got Twitter. Twitter Bootstrap still exists. I'm not sure who's using it. But we've got a lot of front-end frameworks that really do a good job. Claude has pretty much adopted Tailwind CSS
Yeah.
for their UX
Yeah.
standards, which I love Tailwind as soon as I saw them.
Hmm.
So that's part of the equation, is getting kind of consistent user experience. And not only that, but across devices, right?
Hmm. Right.
So if you design your code correctly, you can transform that code from a Tailwind CSS to a native app design, right? You have to
Hmm.
give the AI the right parameters to go, and the right design files and an architecture to go do that. But you can start to port into native, right? Versus using hybrid native, which is what most people have been doing. for the past 15 years, right? So,
Hmm.
so that to me is something that I see that's coming. We're not there yet, but within the next couple of years, we'll start to see that. What I haven't seen yet is actually smart AI controls, right? So we're actually doing this. We're implementing these on our projects, which is voice to text for paragraphs and things like that, because I'm like, okay, it's 2026. The voice to text is really, really matured in the
Hmm.
past 3 years. And so
Right.
now it's at a point in time where we're getting 99% reliability in it. Whereas 3 years ago, that wasn't the case at all with
Hmm.
any of the voice to text transcription engines. So we're going to start to see more voice to text, and we're going to see that also evolve at the form level, where you can say, hey, here's my form. I'm going to use my voice to fill it out, or things that it knows about me are going to auto pre-fill, right?
Hmm.
So if I'm typing in my name for the 1 millionth time, it's going to know, okay, this is a name field. Let's put Crystal's name in, right? Like
Right.
it kind of works if you buy some, like I use LastPass and it sometimes works, but it's far from perfect is what I would say.
Hmm.
I think that we'll start to see consistency on, like where we find things, like I'm tired of searching, in 20 different menu items for where the cancellation is, right? So as AIs start coding, they will naturally start to organize things into standard spots. Okay, my account, profile, cancel, right? My profile, billing, right? And so we'll start to see that happen naturally.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Personal preferences, right? So if you can customize your AI, to display a theme, right? Based off of what what uh, what kind of personas you adopt to. You can, Pride Month doesn't have to be on June, right? It can be
Hmm.
every day.
Right.
Show me the Pride theme, show me the Blue Lives Matter theme, right? Whatever your affiliation is, show it personalized to you. Show me the plain generic vanilla brand vibe, right? Like that's cool too, right? So companies can actually start to code that in, and it's not a huge lift like it used to be. And then, talking about the human and AI operating system. So this is where we're really going to see the industry going, is in that human and AI collaboration as part designed into the user experience. It's not me just filling out some forms and doing to get it done. It's going to be, okay, AI is filling out everything it knows about me. And then we're collaborating on what's the creative piece where Crystal has to use her brain to go do the work. So,
Hmm.
so we're going to see a whole evolution of the UX, and we're going to start to see other types of interfaces being created. OpenAI is working on their user experience now, a new operating system. I'm super excited to see what they're doing. I don't know if Claude is doing this behind the scenes. I would venture to guess that they are. But if you haven't seen the movie Her, right, with Joaquin Phoenix from about, I want to say it was like 2015 when that was created. I think we're going to start to see interfaces that look and act like that here within the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. And nowadays in the UI industry, there is one phrase is very popular that is called zero UI. Zero UI. So
Yeah.
means when as you already told that, okay, voice to text technology is more mature nowadays, right? So that is possible with that particular technology with zero UI. There is no UI, but everything is speak by the user and the whole UI behaving accordingly.
Yeah, I think that people are very visual, right? So if you've
Yeah.
talked to the AIs, like I talked to Claude to go get in, I'm like, oh no, I was talking to ChatGPT in my car. I'm like, okay, ChatGPT, give me 3 restaurants that are nearby, right? And I will tell you, it was a terrible user experience, right? I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my, I had to look at my phone. I didn't know where it picked, all sorts of things. I tried Siri first, and that was like, I'm sorry, I can't help with that command. Right. Do you want me to search the web? Like it was really, really terrible. But so we're a ways off from those technology sets being evolved. But
Mhm.
at the pace of these AI companies' evolution, you know, we're going to see rapid change around this, where zero interface is going to be a real option for many apps.
Yeah. And basically, each and every technology would like to actually control the user decision. So the more minimal we will show to the user, they can more focus on the user decisioning.
Yeah, and I think that actually is a big problem in our world today, which is decision fatigue,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, all right, here's a million things. Here's a million egg makers that are available on Amazon, right? And I'm
Yes,
like,
yes.
okay, I just want the top 10 with the best features in this
Yeah,
price point, right?
exactly.
So we're going to go, I would trust, I actually had ChatGPT searching for tents for me last year. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, here's my tents. And it didn't give me 1,000 different tents of the same style. It gave me the top ranked tents with different styles, right? Here's
Right.
this style of tent. Here's this style of tent that are the
Yeah,
best ranked. So yeah, you're right. We're gonna see more AIs influencing our decisions because they're gonna filter out what to show us.
yeah. Okay, so let's move to next slide. And that is the shift in the product design. So from big upfront bets to continues like data informed decision, mainly the new bottleneck is not building products nowadays. It's making better decisioning together, right? So these five parameters is very important. We already discussed the PRD documentation. So documentation matter more than ever nowadays because AI is in between. Vibe coding is not the answer, and continuous collaboration beats the meeting. Learning requires strong memory. We will talk about this memory thing in next slides as well. And judgment is now a team sport. So this is like a big, big product shift in the AI era. Any comment?
Yeah, so I think it's really kind of we're better together, right?
Yeah.
So and when I we'll talk about we'll talk about an example with Cinemachina. But I can make decisions from my siloed view. Once I review it with people and get their feedback, that it 10x is my results. There's a diminishing point of returns on it, but getting the feedback from 5 to 10 people is a huge, huge win when you're designing systems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we had onboarded a new developer to work on Cinemachina. So we gave him a test, right?
Yeah.
And what we're testing for when we're hiring folks is a few different things, right? So number one, are they vibe coding or are they quantum coding, right? We
Yeah.
don't want vibe coders. We have the capability today in our teams to go have AI go make a change and check it out and check it in. All right.
Hmm.
So if you're vibe coding, we have Hulk Machina, Hulk,
Yeah.
because Hulk smashes bugs, right? So we already have Hulk who is an AI that does that, right? So
And, and
we
my
need people. Oh,
Yeah,
go
and
ahead.
my friend's Hulk Mechana Crystal means she created AI agent which called Hulk Mechana. So I have to explain to the audience that okay, what is Hulk Mechana?
Yes, yes. Okay. So Hulk Machina is a computer we have. So it's a standalone MacBook that we bought that his name is Hulk. He's got his own accounts and he has the capability to uh, get a change assigned to him, make the change, check out a branch, check in, create the pull request, and get it and have it merged, right? So, and then our CTO on the project goes and reviews the changes and merges it, right? So,
Mhm.
so we give him minor bug enhancements as we kind of improve our tasks, improve our design processes. We'll give him bigger tasks to do. We're starting with bug fixes. That's why his name is Hulk Machina, because Hulk smashes bugs.
Yeah.
Um, so we have this capability already on our teams.
Yeah.
And so we had hired a developer because we need more help on Cinemachina. We've got big changes that we're working on. And so what we're looking for when we hire these developers is a few different pieces, right? So number one, what's their process? Do they vibe code or do they quantum code? Do they have
Hmm.
attention to detail? Do they test the changes? Do they collaborate with the AI on how to solve it? Or do they just let the AI do the work and check it in and throw it over the wall?
Hmm.
So this developer failed all of our tasks on 3 different occasions, right? So the first piece, they pulled from the wrong branch, right? So they said they pulled from the main branch instead of the dev branch. So it's like, all right, that's a miscommunication on our side. Maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So, but it gave them a demerit on the attention to detail, right? So number 2, they changed the product, right? So we gave them 3 changes on a specific screen, and they removed functionality, they added features to it, they added new capabilities, they actually removed
Oh,
an entire feature, right?
oh my God.
So that was like, hey, wait. Then they checked in the code and said, okay, it's ready for merge, right? So our team pulls it down and looks at it and is like, hold up, right? Right? Hold up. All right, so you've done all these things wrong. Here's what we gave you was 3 things to change, and this whole set of changes went, right? Show me
Hmm.
your development process. So they show us the development process, and then it was like, oh, they're vibe coding. Oh, go make this change. And Claude made the change that it thought was right. So then we're like, so we give the feedback. So then so they took accountability. So they got a positive mark for taking accountability when something was wrong. So they remake the changes again, and then went and, our stuff is say updating a JSON file. So they made the change on the UI. They didn't test that it was actually changed in the backend
Hmm.
process, right? They just assumed the AI did it. So it's kind of like 3 strikes that you're out. So it's like, well, can't work with us because, you're not paying attention, right? So if
Exactly.
you think that your job as a developer is just, okay, I'm going to tell Claude to go do X, Y, and Z, and then toss it over the wall, that doesn't work, right? Like
Right.
you have to be, as a developer, if you were hand coding it, you would be responsible for the quality of what you're doing. And if you can't, if it takes you 90% less time, right? No, not even 90, 99% less time to go code, you have to own the quality. You have to make sure it's working right. You have
Yeah.
to see how Claude is doing the work, because it's going to do it in the easiest way that it can. So you have to, so as a developer, your job becomes, hey, I got to give it guidance on the, architecture. I got to go, set up standard libraries and say, oh, you created all this code in the JavaScript. We need to move this into a Python file so it's reusable, because it will
Hmm.
do the fastest path to getting it done, because it's optimizing the tokens, right? It's optimizing the spend, but
Yeah.
that's not the right way to do it. And so you actually have to pay attention. You can't just, hey, go build me a Steven Spielberg level app and think it's going to work, right? It's not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
so ultimately it comes down to that if you're a quantum coder, you're collaborating with the AI on how to design it. You're testing to verify it actually did the work. If
Okay.
you're a vibe coder, you're just typing in some stuff and it looks like it works,
Hmm.
except when it doesn't.
Right. Okay. So next one is.
When software development costs 90 to 99% less than it
Hmm.
used to, right? Like we are building projects in, weeks that would have, or in actually days, that would have taken us months, right? We are, we're working on a prototype now for just a to-do list, but it's not just a to-do list. It's Crystal's super cool to-do list, right? And so, I went from idea to prototype in 2 hours. I didn't get feedback and everything because, I'm just, we're demoing it for a platform that we're working on. I gave it to one of our CTO on One Machina to go create the app. And within 2 days, he had the technical specs done, right? With all of the features that I had added. He had done, and then within 2 more days, he had the design done, right? So we're automating our processes so we can do this from idea to prototype in less than a week. And he basically got to version 1 in a week and a half, right?
Right.
So when it's that fast to go from idea to code to ship, right? Then the variable is really your judgment and experience, right? So if you had developed a to-do list, it would look different than mine. It would feel different than mine. It would have different features than what mine did. If a normie who doesn't know how to code, doesn't know how to, hasn't been looking at to-do lists for the past 20 years of their career, right? Because to-do list is actually kind of this standard of a developer, like, oh, I'm learning a new language, we're going to go build a to-do list, right? So that's how developers learn how to code new things, is they create their custom to-do list. And so if you haven't been looking at all the different ways to do to-do lists, you're going to, okay, here's my list, check it off, right? If you ask an AI, a generic AI that you haven't been designing software with, let's go create a to-do list. It's going to create, here's an item, here's a checkbox, and it marks it as done, right? So again, going back to when everyone can code, maybe that's all you need, and that's good enough, right?
Yeah.
But if you're trying to build a micro SaaS that people want to use, that you charge a fee for, right? It can't just be a basic to-do list, because everyone can build their own to-do list.
Exactly.
With their own flavor, with their own colors, with their own fonts, with all of their favorite things, So it's, so you actually have to think smarter. So it's really your judgment, your experience, your integration to the AIs, and understanding how they work. That's going to define the winners of the future.
Okay.
Yeah. Were you even coding in the 1990s?
No, I was not, but you were, I think.
Okay, I'm going to kick this off because I was actually coding in the 1990s, all right? So
I never coded.
all right. Okay, so back in the day, Prince was still in diapers, maybe. I'm not sure.
No. I was 10-year-old at that time.
All right, he was 10 years old, so he was out of diapers. He was running around playing cricket with his friends. Crystal was coding. Right? Crystal was learning how to code. And so I've seen a lot of the evolution of the industry over the past, over 25 years, right? So, in the 1990s, it was really just, how do we make it work? The web was new. We had weird stuff going on, right? So we had HTML as a standard, but the HTML guys who implemented it didn't make it look pretty. It was, everything was Times New Roman font. They had blinking text as like a thing, like you could, it's like, oh, let's go show blinking text. Let's show like lines rotating around, right? Just weird stuff, like really, really ugly.
Sticker is going, CSS sticker.
Yeah. So go look at a GeoCities site. So search the web for a GeoCities site. You'll see what I mean, right? And so, you had some basic navigation, but you had to go tell the browser exactly how you wanted it displayed. If you wanted it to display a special font, you had to do it. You couldn't even install different fonts. It was like, okay, here's your choice of fonts. Now, the browser companies have upgraded that, where you can choose your fonts, you can install it. and
Right.
render it in your own fonts, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So in the 1990s, it was like, okay, let's just make it work, right?
Hmm.
Then early 2000s was really about making it usable, right? So
Yeah.
information architecture really became a thing. User flows, usability testing, QA testing was a huge thing back then, right? So we didn't have kind of the prototyping tools that we had now. So
Hmm.
what I was doing for prototypes was I would either take screenshots of the existing app and like mark up what I want changed,
Yeah.
or sometimes I would right click and hack the UI and modify the HTML to go show what I wanted it to do. So
Hmm.
sometimes I did that. So I had a clean screenshot and I could show it to users. Um, so then, in like 2008 to 2000, I'm going to say 15-ish, it started going into like making it responsive, right? So
Hmm.
web was coming out, mobile phones came out in 2008, right?
Yeah.
Like we had Blackberries, but they weren't really rendering stuff. They weren't
Yeah.
rendering websites back then, right? So then became the big push for making everything mobile friendly, building native apps. So you had kind of the greatest user experience. And then you saw the rise of kind of the responsive frameworks. So
Yeah.
building a website that would look good on both a desktop application and on a mobile app.
Right.
So,
Right.
in 2000, I think so in 2009 was the first time for a company that actually had a UX engineer on the team designing stuff.
Hmm.
Before that, they had UX engineers at other companies, but none of the companies that I worked for. So it was companies that were really heavily investing in the user experience who started that trend,
Hmm.
right? And so, and started like the companies doing A/B testing where it's like, oh, we're going to go change the color on this page to go see, does
Yeah.
it convert more people? Does this
Right.
language convert more people? Right. So, and then you saw the mobile framework show up where it changed the size.
Right.
So I'll let you take it from here since you were,
Yeah, so I will start from 2002. So when
yeah.
I first time make like one page website and there is no HTML. So I use Photoshop 5 version 5.0 and with the slice tool I created the whole website like 2-3 pages, not
Oh
more
my
than
God.
that.
We actually, I worked for a company where they sold the product with their Photoshop demo. That was like the ultimate fake it till you make it. It was a Photoshop demo that they made. So,
Yeah, so yeah, that was a very different time actually. Internet was already slow and we have this type of website available. So so 2002 after that I bought a book HTML book, then I started learning HTML how to render a proper like web page. And in 2010 is very important actually because that is the time of web 2.0 introduced. So their mobile came, so mobile compatibility is very important. I learned
mhm,
Flash for last 6 years from 2004 to 2010, and Flash has been totally swiped out from the market. Why? Because Apple think that okay, there is a security vulnerability issue due to Flash, because the whole SWL file load in the web page. So
mhm,
that time I was pissed off with because I know only Flash, but I start learning HTML5 and all. So that was a very really shift for me and for my career. Then I learned product design, like usability, right, and human interaction with computers. So that I learned from there, and that from 2010, and from there I started working on the product design, UI, UX, and all thing. In 2020, actually, like definitely there are more other tool has been evolved. So Photoshop already gone in 2020. Figma has been introduced. I also use Adobe XD. I will also talk about like tools as well because
yeah.
in Gen Z world they have to know okay what type of pain has been faced by the you know millennium guys.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have in the AI era, so everything is done by the AI. So, Cloud Design is creating design, prototype, and everything, slides. And Claude Cowork and Claude Code is making the whole product within few days. So it's a big
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah. And to be fair, OpenAI also Codex will do this.
Yeah.
I don't use Codex that often because I don't think it's as good as Claude
Mm.
Design. I think Claude has been the coding king for, I want to say, the past year.
Mhm.
They've been the leader for me where I haven't gone back to Codex. They've
Mhm.
just released a new version, so I'm going to go do some Codex testing within the
Oh,
next couple weeks to see how they've
yeah.
evolved. But yeah, I mean, like when when you can just describe in a human language
Yeah.
what software you want to see, it's incredibly powerful. And I don't know that most people realize how long this used to take. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, you could spend weeks or months going and doing what Claude Design has does in minutes and hours, depending
Mm.
on which model. What I've noticed with the Fable 5 release is that it's Fable 5 is much faster at doing Claude design work than Opus is.
Mm.
So they've made a lot of changes, like with normal usage of talking to Claude to go ideate stuff. I don't notice a huge difference, but on the code generation side and the design side, I've seen a huge difference of things taking 10 minutes to go do that used to take an hour or an hour and a half in Claude design. And even an
Right.
hour to an hour and a half is amazing. I can't even tell you how amazed I am.
So I'm using Codex in Framer. So in Framer, I'm using Framer agent, and I'm creating landing pages with the help of Codex, like
Mm.
Framer component like galleries, interaction, and special effects in Framer. So it's good, but it's good for small component, not for the whole application. For now, what I have experienced, yeah.
Okay. Have you tried it since they released their latest version?
Yeah, I tried last week, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know how fast they're going, right? Like
Yeah.
things are changing as we talk.
See,
They're working on their next great thing.
yeah. So what I see, AI is a bubble, right? And it's becoming bigger and bigger day by day. I don't know when it will burst.
I hate that phrase, the AI is a bubble. It's not, I don't think it's a bubble. Um, I think it's transforming all of humanity. I think
Uh-huh.
AI is going to burst a lot of other people's bubbles, is what I think is going to happen. But
Yeah.
we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Okay. So designing inputs that improve AI outputs. So here we will talk about like, okay, the quality of AI answer is decided long before you hit the generate button. So what type of things we have to take like, okay, problem, okay, what we are trying to solve. Knowledge, okay, what should AI should know. Then constraint, what rule should AI follow. Direction, okay, what exactly do we want AI to do? And the judgment, is this actually a good answer or not? So like probleming, okay, the problem we are already explaining through our like PRD documents. We have to provide the user persona, demographics, the whole knowledge base we have to provide to AI so that AI could make the best output out of it. And then this is the best direction through the documentation we can provide to AI. And after that, whatever the output AI has been generated, as a human, we have to make the judgment. Okay, this is good, this is not good. So let's suppose we have AI has been developed 10 features, like, and 8 features are perfect as per user feedback, business and everything. But other two features are not good. So we have to just give another input for particular for those two features. Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
how AI input work.
Yeah. So I think the other piece too talking about integration to AI is also planning for testing your prompt engineering, right? So there is a skill and an art in prompt engineering. The AIs will build a prompt for you as you design your software. But what they don't have is they don't have actual user data to go reconcile against, right? And some of the AIs are just better at different things than others, right? So, you know, using a Cinemachina example, we said, okay, ChatGPT, go give us 10 pieces of dialogue. Here's our scene, a description, right?
Yeah.
Here's our characters, here's our scene description. And then it would consistently, even though we asked for 10 answers, 10 lines of script back, it consistently gave us 5 back, right? And so testing against the real world, we like the quality was bad. So we actually ended up moving over to Claude to go do this, who would generate 10 lines of script. So we made it an option where you can select which AI engine you want to use within Cinemachina because of that.
Yeah. So hey, in this slide, you talked about the skills, right? So for the user information, like because we have few viewers, so for them we can create a separate podcast only for the AI skills. What type of skills we can like we can find best skills on the internet, and which our user can simply integrate into the Claude, right? And they can get benefit out of it rather than creating the whole writing everything in the PRD document, right?
Well, so kind of my point around it is like, assume you need to test these prompts, right? So that's really the point that I was making, is that, you know, as you're building systems, you should think about AI interactions. And you should know that the prompt engineering, you're going to have to do some iterations on, because when you test it out the first time, it's going to work great, but under real usage, you're going to see it break.
Skill, I found a good skill regarding accessibility, right? So if we can plug in into the Claude code, and
You're
Claude knows
talking
that
about the
okay, this skill is
skills.md file. Okay, yes.
exactly, yeah. So we can do a separate podcast for that particular topic, you know. Yeah.
Okay. I need to do some research. I'm actually going through the Claude Architect program now, so I'll be learning more about that.
Perfect.
So yes.
There are 3-4 teams work together, right? One is like a business team, right? Second is a design team, and design have researcher and everything. And third is engineering team, right? So these 3 teams are very, very essential for any product design and development. So their internal communication is very important. So how designers make each other better, we will talk about in this slide, like, okay, feedback loop, right? That is very, very important. So about outcomes, not preferences, means, okay, ask good question, better question, sometimes stupid question as well, not doesn't matter, but receive the critic without any defensiveness, right? That is very important. So sometimes designer have some kind of constraint on why our design is not approving. Maybe as a designer, I'm not getting the business perspective, right? So that is very important. Second thing is the language, right? So the shared language, I'm talking about the design system and branding. So before creating the design system, a brand guideline document is very, very important, right? And normally designer know that, okay, what type of decision we take in the while creating a brand design document. So once that has been created, then the design system is very important because AI will take that design system and the components while creating the UI, right? So why design system? Because it will help 2 things. One is it will scale faster, and second thing is it will help for the consistency in all screens of the applications, right? So that is very important
Yeah.
in any stage of the
Yeah.
application.
Let me just add another point is when I've been demoing things in the past to people and I didn't have
Hmm.
like the colors right, the font wasn't right. I was showing them like I would use a low code solution to go build a quick prototype of an app, right? And when
Hmm.
I didn't have the colors right and the fonts, like people were honing in on that. And I'm like, hey, we're going to go fix that. I'm looking at the screens, right? So the richer experience that you can create, like the more people can visualize using it, right? So
Yeah,
so it's super important because they think it's closer to real, so they pay more attention to it, if that makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. But as from my understanding, if we are working on a like working prototype, so these kind of details are not very much important for the phase one.
It's
But
not, except to the users when you show it to them. I'm telling you,
exactly,
100% of the time when I showed them stuff that lacked fidelity, it showed
yeah,
like placeholders, or I had like lorem ipsum in the names. I had lorem ipsum in the address, right? They're like, like I had to put in real looking addresses so they could
yeah,
so they could get past the kind of what's on the screen and actually look at what the screen was doing, right? So the
exactly,
more
yeah,
fidelity it has, the better, the more people will look at the functionality versus nitpicking oh, that font isn't right, the color's not right, it doesn't match our brand
yeah,
standards.
yeah, makes sense, yeah. Then critics, decisions, not opinions, right? So present clearly and defined with evidence, not personal taste, right? So in this scenario, I would like to say that, okay, uh, user and business, right? User decisioning and business decisioning should be implement into the form of the UI, right?
Yeah.
And the user experience. So,
So,
so
so
if let's
let me
suppose,
add a third variable in this too, which is
mm,
about because I'm a technical product manager, right? So I have technical expertise, and
mhm,
sometimes the cost and time to implement is prohibitive on both of these perspectives, right?
mhm,
So it's also balancing the third piece, which is cost and resources that you have to build this thing. So it's not
yeah,
only decisions and opinions, it's okay, this option is going to take less time to implement for us to gather user feedback to go get to version 2, right? So sometimes you make
yeah,
decisions so you can engage the users in the conversation. Um,
mhm,
and you do it because if you can invest 3 months in building what we think is the right solution, and then had you released I call it ugly early, right? If had you released an ugly early version
mhm.
earlier, then you can get actual feedback from your actual users.
Yeah. So the feature decisioning thing and other things we will discuss in next slides as well, right? And but here I would like to add one more thing that okay, a designer, let's talk about a sign up page, right? So in sign up page there are designer created a screen where a user can sign up with Gmail, with Apple, with Facebook, with Instagram. And when it's come to the business perspective or to the engineering team, they will decide, okay, this is not necessary. As you said, that the price is a constraint in that, right? So yeah, that's important.
I
And
had a
the most
system,
big,
I had a system that I tried to authenticate with. They didn't even
Mhm.
support email login anymore. You had to log in with
Mm.
like GitHub. It had all sorts of weird things. And I was like, I don't want to, like, it's hard enough for me to remember what I authenticate with, like between all of these different things. But now it's like, crap, I can't even use like what I normally, like, it's really, this is where the AIs hopefully can standardize this and hopefully we can get aligned on like login because this is something
Yeah,
that should be, it's 2026. This should be standardized already. And we're doing
right.
experimentation with passkeys, which are kind of
Yeah,
cool, but it's still buggy. So,
yeah,
but it's kind of cool logging in with your fingerprint. So
yeah,
when it works, it's brilliant. But
yeah,
it's technology is not quite there yet.
yeah. And the fourth point is like working with remote team, right? Especially in the whole product design ecosystem. So clear communication is the actually success of any product. So you like the stakeholder and business owner can introduce some kind of collaborative tools like Jira, right? Like Slack, so that people can within the team they can communicate very easily, right?
Yeah. And I
So
think the
these,
other
yeah,
piece too is like tools like Loom or quick videos. We're using WhatsApp for a lot of communication. So sometimes
yeah,
it's just easy for me to shoot a quick video on here's what I'm seeing and here's my expectation rather than
yeah,
like a whole document on how it should work.
yeah. So the end goal is okay, clear communication, right? Either we are using any tool, it should be clearly communicate to the team. So
Mhm.
WhatsApp is good for the small, like Slack or any other tool, for the big and like Teams as well, right? For the enterprise level products.
Right. Yeah,
Okay,
100%.
next. Okay, so in my design process, how I use the AI is like, okay, so I create, like, do you say lorem ipsum, right? So lorem ipsum time has gone, right? So if you so here I use ChatGPT for generate the UX copy and the content ideas. So I'm not using like lorem ipsum for last 6 years. And why? Because your client and your user can never understand, okay, what's your user interface would like to communicate, right? So there we need the real data, right? So that's why ChatGPT is helping designers a lot. And
Mhm.
second thing is explore alternative prototyping concepts. So first I use ChatGPT. So I gave simply random thoughts. Okay, this is what I'm envisioning. Or sometime I gave a very like dribble idea into the ChatGPT, and it renders interfaces. ChatGPT is good because it renders in the JPG format and as well as into the HTML format, right? So third thing is review accessibility and usability. I must tell you, still in the world 70% startup owner don't take care about this third point. And that is very, very important, right? And maybe they don't know that out of 10 users, out of 10 users, six people have color blindness, maybe they don't have that particular data. So that's why the review accessibility and usability is very important. And in this scenario, AI will help you, right?
Right.
But you have to just give some information into your documentation so that AI will take care of it when
Yeah.
their AI is making the decision in terms of colors.
Yeah.
Then speed
Well,
up the
and
research
I
and
want to add another point to this, which is
Mhm.
it's driving me insane, which is I have my
Mhm.
browser set to dark mode because that white screen blinds me. And the number of Fortune 10 companies that don't support dark mode in 2026 actually makes me angry, right? I'm just like, how is dark mode not supported? Like you are blinding me. You're using more electricity. Like, come on, people. So we're designing all of our features to support dark mode or light mode based off of your preferences. And
Yeah,
some people might like
yeah,
light mode during the day and dark mode at night because like there's real impacts in terms of screen times and your ability to sleep. Like there's studies that prove
yeah,
so I want to use dark mode all the time because I'm a nerd like
yeah.
that. But we're giving people the option to go do it, and we're supporting out of the box the browser preferences for that.
Yeah. And fourth is speed up research and exploration. So with the help of AI, you can do it. And this we already discussed in previous slides.
Yep.
Yeah. Prototyping with AI. So this is very important actually. So nowadays I'm using Claude Design a lot for prototyping the things, and write a short product idea, use AI to prototype it and share a feedback. But in this whole scenario, we have to take care three things, which is okay, define what you are building, right? These four questions we already discussed in previous slides. Like a short mini PRD is very, very essential for Claude design or Claude Code to understand, okay, what we are actually want as an output. So second thing is generate and refine UI. And Claude consume a lot of tokens if you will not guide Claude properly, right? So turn the idea into visual prototype, adjust prompts to explore layouts and flows. This is this is actually very important. But if you are giving exact idea along with the dribble shots, along with the paper prototyping, right? Yeah, like whatever you have in your mind, just draw everything in paper. Or if you find any good example on internet, just drop the image into the Claude design, and Claude will understand, okay, this what you want exactly as an output. And third is test and share. So validate direction with stakeholder before involving design or engineering team, because that is very important, so that we can keep the balance in between user and business. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me add another piece to this too, is what I've done a lot of times when I've taken that mini PRD and given kind of a
Hmm.
little bit more generic instructions to the AI. And I do this by
Hmm.
design because I want to give them unbiased feedback, unbiased space to go invent something, right? That's the generative AI in the AI. So
Hmm.
what has happened is they've created as a design for me where I'm like, ooh, that's a good feature I would not have thought of. That's a good
Hmm.
feature. And what will end up happening is I marry kind of the three ideas, the one that's in my head, the one that Claude came up with, the one that ChatGPT came up with. You can start to
Hmm.
experiment with Grok and see how he's doing, right? And like Elon
Yeah.
Musk keeps bragging about how great he is, right? So we'll have to put him to the test to go see
Yeah.
how he does. But my point is, like, literally, I've had features come out of just a, a short one-shot prompt from an AI to go see, oh, what kinds of features should we include in this? And so, and also going back to your point of
Hmm.
defining who the target market is. You know, I
Yeah.
was working on requirements for a system, and it was not giving me requirements of a startup phase. It was giving me requirements of a Fortune 500 company that already had requirements already built, right? So it's like,
Hmm.
oh, the reporting and all the things are really important. And it gave me, 50% of the requirements were around reporting and analytics and AI and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, we have to build the foundation before we can build all of these things, right?
Right.
So the context is really important here, not just, oh, go build me an auto magical marketing system. You could go
Hmm.
put that in there. Go build me an auto magical marketing system, and you will see. All right, you're building. It already assumes you own HubSpot, and you're just adding AI capabilities. Like that's what it did when I did this test. It was like a
Yeah.
year ago. So
Okay,
launching
launching
products
product
and
and features.
features. The Moscow framework. This is yours.
Okay. So this framework is actually very easy and very defined, and okay, how to prioritize the product feature, right? So Moscow method actually say that, okay, teams make through like calls about what to prioritize, sorted into four categories. Like, okay, must have. Okay, if the critical feature required or without it or any plane for fails, then that comes into the must-have category. Should have, like, okay, important but not vital for now. Could have, nice to include, but if there is a time or budget. Would not have, not a focus this time around. So it should not require. So it's very clear framework that, okay, how to. So basically, startup have startup owner have their own psychology, right? So they would like to build a ship. I must tell you, every startup owner would like to build a ship, but they don't know that their user only need a boat,
Right.
right?
No doubt. No
So
doubt.
this Moscow framework, yeah, so this Moscow framework actually help them to filter the feature which is not required for now, and make the decision for the product, you know.
Yeah, but that's also, so here's the other thing I'll say this. So, you know, in a land where everybody can go talk to an AI and go design their full UX experience, right? This is where the help of someone like you and me comes in, because we can help people judge on, okay, this feature you want to do is hard, or it's not technically feasible right now, right? This feature, you know, it looks easy and it's not, right? So, you know, here's why you can't have it today, unless you have the $1 billion example that I was talking about earlier, right? You've also got the how to phase these in strategically, right? Build this module to create your product and launch, go get early customers, get feedback, and then build the second piece once you have customers and feedback. You can launch with these pieces and market your product versus, hey, we're going to go build the Titanic and then hope it doesn't sink, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So this kind of talks, so, you know, going into strategic technical planning, right? So assuming the first thing is a version 1, right? Like it's an alpha version. It's designed, it's designed to say, okay, it's an experiment. Here's our first experiment of the user experience. Okay, now and knowing that you're going to iterate, knowing that you don't know everything about how your users are going to use the system, what their wants and needs are. You know, you can do user interviews, and it's actually harder to do when you're pre-product, pre-sales, right? You have to get people who are really passionate about solving the problem, because like you go into Reddit, and all the Reddit forums are like, oh, I'm building a solution for you, and you know, give me your top 10 pain points, right? And then it's like, people have answered this question over and over and over again, right? So they're not going to give you their answer for free again, and no solution is delivered, right? So really it's about, okay, how do you get feedback from trusted people as you're going through the process and early in the launch cycle, right? So number 2 is, you know, refactoring intentionally, right? So as you get more clarity on the product and the platform, you also get clarity on the roadmap, right? So as you're building out new features, you know, like as an example, with Cinemachina, it was always part of our strategy to be AI agnostic across all of our different API calls, right? So because different models do different things, right? So sometimes the engines, they block the request, right? So it won't render the request because it doesn't meet their safety criteria. You know, I created our zombie apocalypse music video, and you know, and so I have zombies eating at the dinner table, right? So it's like, to me, that's not harmful or offensive. 2 different AI engines rejected the request. I have a whole bunch of zombie videos, zombie video, zombie video, zombie video, but the one of them eating was actually offensive, right? So then I was like, okay, well, it failed on Runway, it failed on Kling. Then I went to Veo and it worked, right? So Veo did the clip. And so that was always part of our plan in it. But as we were building it out, it's like, oh, well, now we've learned more about how OpenAI does script generation, and Claude was doing it better. So we refactored it across a lot of different pieces, not just for our script generation, but also image generation and things like that as well. So you can, when you do the technical analysis along with your feature roadmap design, you can tee up the pieces where it's like, okay, now we've got libraries that do this that can be reused across the system. So when you refactor once, you can leverage that capability in multiple spots. So that's what we're trying to do with our product roadmap and our design decisions. You know, additionally, grouping by capability. So we did this early in my career where whenever we touched a system component, so we're touching the screen to either fix a bug or make an enhancement, we would actually tag our bugs by feature. And so it'd say, okay, we're not going to just fix this one bug to implement this one feature. We would go through the entire bug list and we'd say, okay, what are the bugs that we can fix as part of this? We're going to go do a cleanup. And so we were optimizing not only the development cycle, but we're also optimizing the QA time, and we're improving the quality of the system along the way. So it was really, really a great process. The other last piece is really about versioning, right? So, so in the old days, it's really hard to version, right? Because you've got to test all of these branches, all of these things, you know, different APIs, different schemas. And so, so what you can start to do now that development cost is dramatically less, 90 to 99% less, you can start to implement versioning as part of your product roadmap strategy to say, okay, we're going to do version 1, and then we're going to let people check a box to say, okay, I want access to the beta version 2, right? So you can start to make those decisions and make it part of the development process, as opposed to just, okay, everyone, here's our new feature, and we're hoping it works. Let us know how it goes, right? So it's a whole different experience when you're thinking about, okay, here's version 1 to version 2, and actually architecting your change and your communications to your users and letting them opt in, right? Because people get used to the usability of the old thing. It's really taxing for people mentally to go learn a new thing. And so let people upgrade on their own time frame, as opposed to you just throwing it over the wall at them and saying, here you go. We love it. We hope you do too, right? So this is kind of an example of kind of our process of design, right? So and collaboration, right? And the benefit of collaboration, right? So when I designed Cinemachina version 1, Prince wasn't on the team yet. And so I designed it from a screenwriter's perspective, right? Go create your dialogue, go generate your storyboards from your dialogue and your characters. And so that's what we had designed, right? So we've got a storyboard sequence that's generated based off of the dialogue and your scene goals. Prince comes in and he joins our team and he starts using Cinemachina. And he's like, he doesn't actually use Cinemachina. He's using his tools that he knows, right? Talking about the learning curve. So he used Cinemachina for part of the process. And so he was like, so I'm like, hey, you didn't use the tool, right? And I could have been angry, right? Been like, why didn't you use the tool? Right? And thrown up all over it. And I was like, okay, let's go analyze what you did and why you did it in the way that you did it, so we can go get a better user experience, right? So we sat down, he showed me his screens, we drew out on a paper. He drew out, this is his actual drawing of here's how he wanted it to work. I took that drawing and I translated, I talked to my guys, my AI guys, and then this is what we came up with, right? So we redesigned the process based off of Prince's feedback and based off of the other tools that he was using and what they were doing. And so, you know, we didn't take one small step of iterations of trying to go, make this new, you know, oh, we're going to add this enhancement, we're going to make this enhancement. We redesigned the whole thing. And going to versioning, right? It wasn't, hey, we're going to go redesign the old screen to go do it, because the old screen serves some purposes. We're going to design the new screen, and then we're going to use that as our benchmark for the next set of changes that we're going to make for creating trailers and movies and stuff like that. So it's so it gave us,
and
so
the
it's a
song
whole
videos.
Yeah, we're doing it for music videos now. You could see my zombie there, right? And so so anyways, but it was like really, but it was the collaboration where I wouldn't think of it the way that Prince did, because he's using other tools and he's got a different mindset. And so it's the combination of both of us collaborating with the AI that got us to where we're at today.
Before a single screen, from idea to validate a concept, right? So what type of things we have to take care? So we already discussed about the discovery, research, early prototypes, aligns user needs, business goal, and feasibility long before development begins. So this we have to take care everything with and we have to documentize everything what we are making decision in a one closed room, right? And again, these four questions, I think, comes again that, okay, for whom we are building, what type of problem we are solving, either user or business, and why does this problem actually matter, right? That is very important question to make the feature decisioning. And how we know, okay, we have solved it or not with the help of AI. So these four questions we have to think every time, whatever,
Yeah.
whenever we are building a new feature here.
Yeah. And let me just add kind of the acceptance criteria. How do we know it's done? Right.
Yeah.
So that's super critical, especially as you're working with developers who are coding with AI, that they
Yeah.
validate that it's done versus
And
just,
here I would like to add one more thing, that yesterday we were talking about that, okay, one guy built a very good micro SaaS application, and he served to the 10,000 users, paid users. And after launch, after joining 10,000 users, there is a very, very severe vulnerability issue, right? So I just want to understand, you should talk on this particular, Crystal, that this is very important. Everybody is building products, but nobody is taking of the security, you know?
right. Yes. Yeah. So I think as kind of somebody who's been behind the scenes, who has seen companies get hacked and seen what they've done, like I've seen a bunch of different issues happen, right? So I've seen AIs go delete data from production databases. All right. Like there have been reports on that.
Mhm.
That happens because they gave the AI access to go do that, right? So are they
Mm.
following good security controls? So if the AI has access, then people can hack your AI to go get access to your systems, right? Like the hackers are smart. They are
Yeah.
smart. And not only that, that they share their information. So I was working
Yeah.
at one startup where they had a financial reward if they could hack our systems. And they figured out how to hack our systems. It's step one, do this, step two, do this, step three, do this. So one person came in, did it. They published it on the dark web on how to do it. And we would find it a couple days later because the financial transactions would bounce back, right? So
Mm.
because there's a delay. And so then what happened was then other people would come in with the same attack vector. So they share their data. So they brag about it.
Mm.
Oh, here's my new exploit. And so then we would start to see a bunch of people coming in. So what I had to do as the CTO for this company, I had to go in and set up reporting, and I would have to block people's access once I saw them have these kind of yellow flags. I'm like, hey, here's the stuff. And I will tell you, as one of our verification mechanisms, I would say, hey, we need you to send me your driver's license. The
Mm.
hackers, they didn't care. They still sent their real driver's license to me because there's no enforcement of laws in cybersecurity issues. Like seriously, I
Mm.
called the police. I was so sick of one
Mm.
guy coming in trying to exploit our systems every day. I called the police. They told me, oh, this isn't our jurisdiction, even though the guy is in their city. You're going to have to talk to your local police department. I call our local
Mm.
police department and I'm like, here's what's happening. They're like, what do you want us to do? Drive about halfway across the country to go pick them up? Go call them back, right? Like there's no enforcement of laws around this.
Mm.
So security is a big deal and nobody is talking about this as they're
Yeah.
building their vibe coded stuff. Like we will
Yeah.
see over the next year, exploit after exploit after exploit coming. So it's going
Yeah.
to be really fascinating to see this space evolve. right? You
Yeah.
have to tell the AI code insecurity, and
Yeah.
you can say it, but you have to test it. You can't just say it
Yeah.
and hope it's done. Okay. All right. So this is how we get from idea to launch, right? So creating the mock-ups, creating the visualization, static screens, rich prototypes. You can use Figma for it. I'm using Claude Design and handing off that design to our developers. It just depends on what you're doing, right? So that's the kind of the
Yeah.
old model.
Yeah.
In the new model, well, let me start this over. Okay. So in
Yeah.
the old model, we had static screens where we'd have comments about interactive UX, right? If you had Figma, you could do some interactivity, right? You
Yeah.
had a little bit more capability. You could click through to give you the UX experience. And then
Yeah.
you would hand off the designs and the developers would have to go say, okay, now I've got to go code this. And
Yeah.
Figma says that you can export the design files, and 100% of developers are saying, like, we use it as a guideline. We can't use the Figma designs and incorporate it. It's just too
Exactly.
messy. So
Yeah.
now, once I learned the AIs could code, I started doing AI mockups for all of the things using HTML, right?
Yes.
Creating working layouts, making reusable components, navigation, designing that, making it responsive, right? So you still have to ask the AI, okay, here's the, desktop version, make us a responsive version or make it responsive. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
not going to do it unless you ask. All right. So what this means is now the design becomes a part of the product development process. So this
Yeah.
is more important than ever, and then from there, the engineering focus isn't about making the UI work, because the Claude will do all that work for you. Codex will do all
Yeah.
that work for you. It's about hardening the design, making sure it meets the specification, making sure that you've got code reuse, making sure that the database schema is designed well. We actually
Yeah.
had AI go reverse engineer one of our designs for my to-do list. And what it did from the to-do list perspective was a totally fine database design, but it didn't follow best practices, right? So it
Yeah.
created 3 tables where it could have had 1 and filtered based off of categories, which would have been a better design for a lot of different reasons. And so
Yeah.
the AIs are okay. I'm going to give them a B for database designs. They're not there yet. They will get there. Don't get me wrong. And they'll do fully normalized databases. But what they're doing right now is what's the easiest path to get to the solution. That's not necessarily the best practices. So, that's going to be important for database design. Your database is the foundation of your application. If it's designed
Exactly.
wrong, you refactor a lot of code to make it right. So it really
Yes.
takes, so this is one of the reasons why we're not there from a vibe coding perspective yet, is because the AIs aren't doing this automatically. They will. Don't get me wrong, they will, but they're not there yet. So people vibe coding today, they're missing, and you don't have enterprise experience and security experience and seeing the bad things happen. I'm saying
Yeah.
you will learn the hard way. Don't be an
Yeah.
Ashley Madison. And if you don't know who that is, go look them up, because they're the worst case scenario of what can happen when your IT operations go wrong.
MLP.
MLP. All right. What does MLP stand for, Prince Pal?
Yeah. It's minimum lovable product.
Yes. And we'll, all right. So I got to tell this story really quickly about this. So I had actually had a separate conversation with ChatGPT, because I'm like, it's really not a minimum viable product anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like we're getting into the stage where if you've got one feature enhancement over some big dog that has market share, you're never going to win, right? Like, oh, they'll eat you for breakfast, right? Like, oh, I spent, $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 building this thing. And then suddenly Claude implements it, or whatever platform implements whatever feature set you had, right? So they just steal your idea, and then they're like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's go add it to our roadmap, and they've got all the resources to go make it real, right? So it's not about minimum viable products anymore. It's about minimum lovable products, because now that, again, 90 to 99, it costs 90 to 99% less to go build an app and go create it than it used to. Then, users expect more today than what they did. You used AI to create it. It should be amazing, right? And to be fair, a lot of the usability that the AIs are creating is really pretty spectacular, what they've been able to do. So I had this conversation with ChatGPT, and it came up with minimum lovable product. And so I told Prince, I was like, yeah, like ChatGPT had come up with another phrase for it. I can't remember what it was. He's like, minimum lovable product. And so I went back to ChatGPT and I said, what's the phrase that we used the other day talking about the evolution of minimum viable product? Minimum lovable product. So ChatGPT and Prince Pal were mind melding, coming up with our next evolution. It's not a minimum viable product anymore. It's a minimum lovable product.
Yeah.
So what's the core value proposition? What's the capability that you're creating, right? Prioritizing impact versus effort. Building the smallest version of what you can, right? So, and again, realizing that today, the smallest version has to be bigger than it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, you could win with a, survey form, right? Like there's a lot of people who won with survey forms. If you're building a survey form today because SurveyMonkey doesn't do what you want it to do, and you're going to make the AI-enabled SurveyMonkey, well, you can't win that way, right? So what's the smallest version that actually validates the use case and isn't going to get eaten up by a big dog or by one of the AI companies by adding a new feature to their tool set, right? While also balancing feature creep and over engineering, right? So there's a balance of good engineering versus over engineering, right? And your tech team, your development team directly drives that. So making sure, do you have all of your checklists in place? Did you do testing? Do you have all the security pieces in place to make sure that your data is not getting hacked? What is your user onboarding process, right? So kind of the gold standard is, in theory, they don't need an onboarding guide. It should be relatively straightforward. The reality is that sometimes for a certain application, you have to have some training, right? So how do your users onboard? How do you support them? How do you educate them, right? Creating your rollout plan, right? So it's not only about implementing the software, but how do you get visibility to it? What are the social channels you're going to do? Do you have an advertising strategy? And what does that look like, right? So you can build it, but will they come, right? Like that's the failure of every startup, is they have faith that they build it and then nobody shows up because they didn't think through the other pieces. And then planning for risk mitigation before you launch, right? So how are you going to handle through these scenarios? If you brainstorm with the AIs, they will give you 80% of what you need to know, right? Like this is all documented. It's all public on the website of stuff people have learned when they launch. They will give you the checklist of what to look for, And then, the second piece is, how do you measure success? So how do you track adoption? How do you track engagement? How do you collect feedback from your users? And then retention and business impact, right? So how are you measuring retention? Like I I'll give you a perfect example, right? So I am a certified project management professional, a certified PMP, got my certification in 2006.
Hmm.
For the past 20 years since I got certified, I've been looking for project management software.
Hmm.
So I have tested every time I have a project, I'm like, okay, let me go do the look and go see what project management software is out there.
Hmm.
Is it good? Is it affordable? All the things, right?
Hmm.
I go in and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go test this thing. All right. I'm testing Trello. Okay, Trello does these things well. It
Hmm.
doesn't do the other 80% of project management. So I'm like, okay, I can't use that. All right, I got to go back to Microsoft Project, right?
Hmm.
Or the open source version, which is uh, Project View or something like that. I can't remember. There's an open source Microsoft version of Project that works the same, right? But that's not cloud based, it's software based,
Yeah.
right? I go test another one, right? I test Monday.com and it has some cool things, but it doesn't do certain things, right?
Yeah.
So, so I'll go sign up, I'll go do the 10-minute test, and then
Hmm.
I'll go cancel. All right. Like, no, I'm not going to use your thing.
Hmm.
I don't know. And sometimes when I cancel, I
Hmm.
give them a very explicit, I've spent a lot of time typing out, here's why I didn't use your thing.
Hmm.
0 companies have called me to say, hey, we want to interview you to get your feedback because you're an expert project manager, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me go get your feedback. Because, and um, so the question is, it's super easy to install. People give it a 20-second test and then they're like, I'm out, right?
Hmm.
Like, 99% of apps that are deployed on the App Store, someone downloads it and never opens it again, right?
Yeah.
Like there's real metrics around this.
Yeah.
So, companies that have done this well, there was a company that was called, I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was basically an AI assistant that would schedule meetings for you. And
Okay.
so it would go back and forth with people to go say, hey, Crystal has these times available. And they did a good job with their responses. So it looked like a human. It was
Hmm.
like, so I would get questions. Oh, is Amy joining us? Oh, is Andrew
Hmm.
joining us?
Right.
And so I would say, no, Andrew, I chose the guy. Andrew is actually an AI.
Yeah.
And so they were bought out and their domain was taken.
Yeah.
But they did a good job with their onboarding. It's
Yeah.
like the first example of here's a onboarding email chain, which is like, okay, here's your first experiment with Amy or with
Yeah.
Andrew, whoever you chose. So think about your onboarding experience on how people are using your software. So
Yeah.
that way, and collecting feedback from people who bounce, like
Yeah.
because their feedback is super important. They were looking for something and you failed them. So they took the time to go install it or sign up. They took some time to go look at your thing and then found out, oh, no, it doesn't do what I want. So that feedback, if you have to pay them, I'll give you a $25 gift card for Amazon to go
Yeah.
get the feedback. It is worth it in gold. And a lot of people will do it for free.
Yeah.
So,
So human intervene is important in this scenario, but like major success is actually post launch thing, right? So how I
yes.
doing is I'm actually implementing some kind of tool within the application, either web or mobile. So there is one application is that is called, it's free. It's developed by Microsoft, that is called Clarity. So what Clarity do actually, it create every user session as a in a video form, and you can see okay where user is taking their mouse as a video. So as a UX expert, I can imagine, okay, what type of problem user is facing in terms of onboarding or any checkout process or something. So from that insights, I make the decision for the post launch changes in the product, right? So
Yeah,
that is the one another scenario we can utilize it. But your point is good. But if let's suppose a real human would like to give the feedback, so we should introduce either a chat system within the application, right? Or at least a feedback form so that user can fill it up with the screenshot, and
yeah,
we will call them to schedule a meeting or something, right? So to
yeah,
improve the whole product experience,
yeah.
especially after launch, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to add a couple more things to what you talked about because I've also implemented tools like User Story to go track user sessions.
Hmm.
And I will tell you, if you spend time watching people use your system, you
Hmm.
will see exactly where they struggle. I
Hmm.
learned so much. We made so many product decisions based off of what we saw. The
Hmm.
second piece is that if you're storing like HIPAA compliant data and things like that, you have to make sure that you're masking that data when you set up these tools.
Yeah.
Because again, it comes back to security
Yeah.
vulnerabilities. So now if people are typing in their medical history,
Yeah.
social security numbers, stuff like that in your app,
Yeah.
passwords in your app, and you're not masking it, then
Hmm.
that's a different way that hackers can exploit your system is by going into exploiting these systems, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's two pieces of that you need to also take into consideration. Um, you had another example too of measuring success that you used. That was after that. I'm trying to remember what you said.
One is the online video sessions, and second is
Yep.
feedback form. Yeah.
Oh, a chatbot. That's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
where I wanted
Chatbot.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
focus. Okay, so chatbots are the bane of most people's existence, right?
Hmm.
So what happens in IT organizations is they're like, okay, we're going to implement the chatbot, we're going to upload our FAQs, and then the chatbot's going to repeat the FAQs. And so big companies implement these chatbots and they're stupid,
Yeah.
right? So if you're implementing a chatbot, it has to escalate to a person, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the chatbot solutions do this natively. If
Hmm.
your chatbot solution doesn't, do not sign up for this
Hmm.
because they will handle it seamlessly or based off your working hours, right? So if
Right.
you don't have people available, it'll create a ticket, right?
Hmm.
But there's too many people who've been burned by bad chatbot experiences. And if you think, oh, I'm going to be smart and I'm just going to go connect it to ChatGPT or Claude, well, ChatGPT and Claude might invent policies, right? So you can't just connect the AIs because they'll be like, yeah, we'll give you a full refund and we'll
Yeah.
pay you for your pain and suffering. Hey, I want reimbursement for my pain and suffering, right? So
Yeah.
generative AI will do this. So if you don't have the right instructions and the right guardrails, you may be on the hook for paying for pain and suffering when your product stinks, right? So so building a chatbot, don't follow what they were doing 10 years ago. You need
Yeah.
to elevate the experience and you need to escalate it to a human.
Yeah.
And you need to look at the chat logs. The
Right.
chat logs have all the stuff, what people are
Yeah.
trying to do, what they're asking. Make your chatbots smart. It's time for smart chatbots today.
Hmm.
Like the technology exists. We just need to implement them.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
That is Crystal's chatbot rant for the day.
Yeah, chatbot, especially AI powered, is not good for especially for the big application where user have
Yeah.
like they have millions of maximum user are not satisfied with the chatbots. Yeah,
No, they
yeah,
were implemented badly and nobody looks at the logs.
and
It's like
maximum user
next,
want.
I agree.
Yeah,
Upload.
yeah.
Okay, we're done. Success. Now let's have pizza. Okay. And they never see if they actually solve customer issues.
Yeah. Actually, maximum people, more than 90% would like to talk, especially on these kind of application with a human, not the chatbots.
I'm going to say so if the chatbot worked, they will talk to the chatbot.
Hmm.
Right? So I've had a different experience talking to the chatbots on issues with Claude and ChatGPT. Like both of them, I've created, hey, I'm having this problem, and I've had the problem solved
Yeah.
95% of the time by the chatbot, and rarely going to a person, right?
Right.
So, but they built their AI. They built their support experiences with their AI. So it's
Yeah.
a premium experience. I would much rather talk to a chatbot than talk to a
Yeah.
human if I can avoid it, right? Because then I'm waiting for them to type, and all they're doing is clicking the pre-filled thing, and I got to go repeat myself again, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of issues in the
Yeah.
chatbot world. So
Yeah.
I don't want to repeat myself. I just gave you all my issue. Go
Yeah.
summarize it for the human that's coming online.
Yeah. So
All right, I
here,
guess I wasn't done with my rant.
yeah. So here I would like to add one thing for our viewers that we were discussing from last 10 minutes about the customer experience actually, you know. So everybody is creating, AI is creating UX, AI developing the product, but if we will not put a human in the loop, especially in the customer experience, our product can never be hit, you know. So that's very, very important that you talk your humans, especially to you talk your users as a human, right? So that you can better understand your users, you know. And after that, you can give those insight to the AI. Okay, this is what our customer experience is, you know.
So for me, like AI is a thought partner across the entire process,
Yeah,
right? What are we building? How are we building it? Who's going to use it? How do we market it? How do we, how do we launch it? So it is my thought partner in everything that I'm
yeah,
doing, right?
yeah.
So, creating all of the things that we need to do, right? So, creating checklists, creating QA scenarios, creating user flows, creating onboarding documentation and ideas around that, creating release notes, creating marketing copy. I actually did on one website, on version 2 of the Cinemachina website, I actually went and did a bake-off between the two different AIs. So I gave them the HTML page for our current homepage. I
Hmm.
said, okay, ChatGPT, you go recommend changes.
Hmm.
Claude, you go recommend changes. So I just started with version 1. ChatGPT gave me one set. Claude gave me another set of recommendations. I
Hmm.
actually said, in this section, ChatGPT wins. In this section, Claude wins, right?
Okay.
And I went through side by side, and I said, okay, Claude, here's the feedback from ChatGPT. Here's the
Hmm.
feedback, and here's the changes that we're making. And so then Claude Code went in and made all the changes based off of feedback from both of them. And it
Hmm.
was, that was an incredible experience. Like something that would have taken me weeks of work if I were working in a big organization to go get feedback was done in like 2 hours. And we
Hmm.
went from version 1 of the website, which was kind of ugly, to a better version. This was preprint. So now we're on our third version of the website. And
Hmm.
it was, it was the difference in the original copy was night and day, is what I'll say.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
AI did I think I built the website in WordPress
Hmm.
originally.
Yeah.
And we've totally gotten rid of WordPress now in lieu of just working with Claude Design directly to go build out the websites. So
Hmm.
we're no longer using content management systems because we don't need them anymore. When you can
Hmm.
talk to an AI and say, this is what I want it to do, the AIs can go do it.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
So no CMS.
so yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, and then the other piece is, really identifying your risks before shipping, right? Like
Yeah.
they're going to know certain things that you should be considering before you go.
So, second point I would like to discuss like user flows and onboarding ideas. This we discussed it actually in last slide as well. But if we will give the user flow in as a paper sketch even to the AI, So AI will easily understand, okay, what we are looking for, right? And user flow should be the in the closed circle always, as per my experience. So that is the best user flows, you know. And if we will keep the loop open, so AI will never understand. AI will get confused more. Evaluate user needs and business goal with UX metrics. So UX metrics actually connect users to business goal, especially as AI automation change how user interact with products. They give clear signals into user behavior, helping team make good decisions, improve user experience, and stay ahead. So means like, okay, you have to, you see, technology is evaluating, right? Day by day. So, and as as per the technology evaluation, user evaluation is also improving, you know, because they are into the new era, right? So those things are very important when we are talking about the UX metrics, especially, right? So in the UX metric, there are many things. Like first is the user psychology, right? We have to understand the user psychology. And second thing is we have to understand the patterns, how AI understand that particular psychology, right? So, these are the things very important in terms of if we are talking about the UX matrix in the evaluation era of the AI.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
next,
Well, how,
yeah,
how do you know if it's good or not?
see, we can only first, I cannot, if there is a new feature, and if let's suppose we already implemented with the proper user psychology principles or UX principles, then I can 100% sure that it's very close to the success rate around 80 to 90%, right? But
Yeah.
if we didn't add any kind of UX like principle or psychology, then the failure chances is more. Yeah. So designing with AI. So we already discussed that we are using Claude design a lot, right? And giving maximum input to the Claude design, like different kind of peer documents and all other information like user flows, wireframe, dribble shots, etc. So that we can give maximum information to the AI and AI can understand better and give the best in output, right? So but we cannot avoid the like usability, usefulness, right, or the accessibility as per the output, right? So as we see that, okay, AI products actually move the needle for users and the business, right? And it's not moving like the needle, it's moving faster as before, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen is, and that's actually one of the biggest challenges is that you can create a design, you can create specs, and you can skip thinking through like the entire user experience and the integrations into the rest of the product. So it makes it easy to say, oh, here's this thing, and then it becomes a half-baked thing that doesn't take into account the rest of the system. So that's
Yeah,
actually what we're going to see more and more of with product releases as companies start speeding up their release cycles. Now that they are AI enabled, they're like, oh, we can release more, but then they're not really thinking through all the impacts of all the pieces of functionality that feature touches throughout the
hmm.
system.
QA time.
QA
So
time.
So I would like to share my like, okay, what type of AI toolkit I'm using and what type of process I am following. So this is
Mhm.
very simple process I am following like discovery and research. We already discussed. Then strategy, like with the different kind of documents and user stories. Third is the design exploration with the help of Claude Design and collaboration with different type of tools, Jira, Slack, any and then launch an iteration like with the checklist, QA scenario, and feedback.
Oh,
We are
okay.
talking about the process. If you would like to add
Okay.
anything in this
Yeah.
process, just let me know.
No, I've got, okay. Keep
Okay.
going.
Yeah, yeah. So the workflow, like before we were using the like as a product design double diamond process. So normally designers know about it. But nowadays uh, product design is totally
All right.
changed.
So for
Yeah.
us that don't know what a double diamond process is, can you enlighten us?
Yeah, so before that, what we do, we discover, right? Okay, what type of things we need, right? And on the basis of discovery, we design, like in the form of like wireframes, Figma prototype, everything, right? And along with the storyboard, we give the hands off to the developers. Now developers
Mm,
jump into it and they start creating they do the engineering and start developing the whole product module wise, right? And after that, tester test and product launch. This is called double diamond, right? But in the
okay.
AI, in the AI form, what we do, we do the ideation, we do the first of all research and discovery, everything on the same pattern. We produce everything like prototype from the with the AI. We give the shot to the AI, right? AI will produce the output, and we refine the output instantly without any intervene, right? And give the another input to the AI. So double diamond was like this. If you said like, okay, these are the double diamond, but AI in AI era, you give the information, right? It give you the output, then you refine it, then you give the output again. So it's come now the product life cycle is into the loop on on the basis of the output. So the best information you will give to the AI, the best output you will get it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Well, not only that, but talking to different AIs too, not
yeah,
just trusting one with the answer. You'll
yeah,
get a diversity of answers and ideas if you include multiple AIs in
yeah,
your design process.
exactly. I didn't experience that particular thing till now. Yeah. So let's
Have you
suppose if I
tested it? Have you asked Grok to help you design a system?
not yet.
Okay, all right. Elon keeps saying how smart he is, so I'm just
Oh,
saying, let's go test his metal.
yeah, I will test it definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the toolkit basically I am rely on as a product designer. Like, okay, first is ChatGPT for PRD, brainstorming, etc. Then Claude for deep analysis, and Claude design for speedy design output, like in the form of prototyping, not even the static one, but also in the form of the HTML. Then Notion AI I use for as a like project management tool and keep my notes into it, everything managed. And Framer AI I use to create the interactive landing pages with interaction and on all. And in the Framer AI, I can not even create the whole landing, but also create some kind of component like gallery. Then any if I want any type of form specifically, I can create with the help of Framer AI. And by the way, Framer AI using the Codex, the Chat GPT model. Yeah.
Okay,
What about your
awesome.
tools?
Okay, so for me, I'm using ChatGPT for strategy. I'm a super user on voice to text. I
Okay.
just do a stream of consciousness of, okay, here's my thoughts, and then brainstorm with it. Then I pull Claude into the conversation, looking for more features, asking more questions.
Hmm.
I haven't used Grok for this, but I am going to do some testing.
Okay.
But I have experienced other AIs giving other ideas that have been helpful. I'm all in on Claude Design. I am using that for all my stuff instead of, I don't use other tools like Framer. Once it gets to the point where I can't use Claude Design anymore, then I'll
Hmm.
move it into Claude Code on my computer and then do the design through Claude Code, right? Because
Okay.
there's this, it has some limits in terms of how big it can get. They've
Yeah.
made huge improvements, so it's getting better than it was before. It was like, hey, it was kind of getting big, and it starts to corrupt what you've built and everything. So sometimes I'll create when I'm doing my designs, I'll say, okay, instead of making this, it tries to create all your designs into one screen. So I start breaking it up into different screens. Okay, let's go move into another screen. So we've got links, hyperlinks between it. So you have to ask it to do that, and then it'll do it. So you have to know. And then I'll do, okay, now let's go build a mobile version. So instead of refactoring the design to go make it mobile and user and desktop friendly, let's go do it that way. So that's what I'm using. For research notes and projects plans, we're actually building our own project execution system. Okay. So I'm using my own processes. So we're launching that in early Q4 of this year. And our goal is to make our own software that kind of does a lot, fills in a lot of the pieces that the AIs don't do, and really builds in the human AI collaboration across systems. So, okay. So that's what I'm using. I get to eat my own dog food with our with our solutions, which is super fun. Okay. We're kind of entering this age where we can become super productive in a very short time frame, right? So more output doesn't equal more impact. So one of my hardest bosses to work for, he had this phrase: motion isn't movement. So we can do a whole lot of stuff, but that doesn't move the ball forward, right? So, so a designer is going to be able to generate 10 times as many concepts, and they can still avoid difficult decisions. Like, it's like, oh, here's a hard part of the application that we haven't really thought through. And, like not only from a design perspective, but a legal perspective, right? So what if our software steers people in the wrong direction, right? Those types of questions become really important. And so it's easy for all the product teams to avoid the hard legal stuff. But if you don't, that's the difference between success and, some company shutting you down because you've done something wrong, right? Or class action lawsuit or something like that. Developers can, they can vibe code an answer, and then it's like they didn't actually fix the problem, right? So quality has to be introduced as part of the process by every single person on the team. And then the company, they can automate a whole lot of tasks without actually solving the customer problem, right? So we're going to see that with the rise of the AI automation bots in these companies, because every company is building their AI automation stacks. And if they do it the same way that they implemented the chatbots, it's going to be, oh yeah, we closed all these tickets, or we solved all these problems, and the problems still aren't solved. So, AI fluency. So AI gives you the capacity, it automates the stuff, but you have to inject the human processes and the judgment along the way that makes sure that, are we doing the right things? Do we have the right controls in place to go monitor what's being done? Are we measuring the outputs? Are we measuring the satisfaction? This is where the big guys, if they don't start doing this, because historically they haven't, they are going to start getting eaten up by small guys that do. The micro SaaSes that solve the same domain, cost less because they don't have a $1 billion company to support. They don't have shareholders on Wall Street to go make happy. They will be able to go create the solution at a fraction of the price. And they will start taking down these big companies that have had big fat cash cows, that they don't care about their users anymore. They care about their shareholders and their executive bonuses. And as long as those are being met, the small guys are going to start winning. Okay. All right. So here's kind of the recommendations. You need to start with something real. Exactly. And it needs to be a big enough problem that it's not solvable in 2 weeks by the Claude code team, right? Like it has to be unique enough, and it needs to be specialized enough in a domain that you can actually, solve real problems for a customer. So you can exchange energy, right? They're giving you money to help them solve a problem, and you solving their problem saves them energy, right?
Yeah.
Second piece we've talked about is learning from real usage, right? We've talked a lot about different tools to go do that.
Yeah.
Monitoring your user base, talking to your user base, and then investing more in what's proving itself. Don't invest in features that people aren't using.
Yeah.
Invest in features that people are using.
So this is actually a case study, right? So so shipping fast and on the live project is a challenge nowadays. But Spotify cracked it somehow. They have 3,000 engineers, right? But they are saying they release 76% more PRs, which are actually 15 years old, you know. So it's not like buy more AI, but it's solving the old PR problems in the application as well. So their chief architect Nicholas uploaded a proper video how they are fixing those old PRs, and this is the best thing that we can think rely on, at least on AI, especially in the coding framework. Yeah.
Yep. All right, and you're going to share the link in the notes in the YouTube description, right?
Yeah, definitely. I will share
Okay.
the video link in the description. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Then key takeaways like AI would not replace designers. Everybody is saying, but product manager or engineers, right? AI will not here to replace it. But the professional who learn collaborative with AI will build better products, communicate faster, and launch with greater confidence. So this is the whole things we were discussed in the previous slides. And this is we are. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and get insights from it.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you. All
Yeah.
right,
Thank you.
Prince.
Thank you,
All
Crystal. Take care. Bye.
right, bye.
Bye.